This is a guy, Tony Rodriguez, Secret Space Program. I started watching interviews with him a couple of years ago. Well, at least a year and a half ago. I can't remember exactly how long, but I was thinking about sharing this book about Empire Beneath the Ice, how the Nazis won World War II, and Stephen Quayle, and it's about how the Nazis came to have a secret space program, and they actually it was like between the world wars, after World War I, they started investigating esoteric manuscripts and using like a psychic to get information about previous civilizations. There were these Vermanas, in the ancient Indian scripts. Can't remember now, the Sanskrit. Anyway, they were able to, through psychics and working with these ancient manuscripts, this is going to sound really, really crazy. And a lot of people are going to say, okay, where's the proof? That's the thing that I started noticing when I was, posting that video off of Gaia. And there has been so many hits. There's been like 15,000 hits on that one that I posted. And then the second one that I posted, there's only been about 2,000, but I think it's because I kind of set it up like it was an advertisement. It's like, please join Gaia, that kind of thing. And so, if you don't know about Admiral Byrd, like after World War II, when he went down to Antarctica and he was trying to root out, the Nazis that, it was known that there were these, the secret space program, the Nazis the breakaway civilization in Antarctica, and then they found, they were attacked brutally by the flying saucers, but the flying saucers, a lot of the flying saucers that have been seen early on were actually from the Nazis. And I was trying to find a picture here that had, no, I guess that's not one of the ones. Flying saucers that have like swastikas on them. But there's so much research in this book about the Nazis and how they got their breakaway civilization going and everything. And I've had this for about a year, but I haven't read it cover to cover, but I've listened to a lot of radio shows that have been done by Stephen Quayle. But the thing I want to share with you today is Tony Rodriguez, because he actually was abducted as a child, and he was a slave in the Dark Fleet, and he was basically owned by Nazis in space. And to hear him talk about it, there are lots and lots of interviews of him talking, and this is part of a 5-part series. This is one of my favorites because of the interviewer.
On Tapio for that. So And
Those
did
are
you
the
ever?
times.
Sorry, on you
But
go.
oh, those are the times I remember from my workday.
Yeah.
I don't remember too much doing the job other than punching in numbers into the screen most of the time. But I remember that, at the end of the day, just being exhausted.
Yeah, and I know that you were a slave when you were there, and obviously you're working with other people that are slaves as well. And did you ever see them doing that? Did you ever see them like actually working people so that they were so exhausted they couldn't work anymore, or
Oh
did
yeah,
they?
oh
Did
yeah,
they?
yeah.
Mm.
You know what happened was you could sit down. There was a score. Every single thing we did was score driven. There was an
Mm.
officer that came through about three, the equivalent of 3 o'clock. It was space time, so the clock was different. It worked differently. The ship traveled time. We would go. We even if we were gone for 12 hours, doesn't mean we got back. If we left at noon and we were gone for 12 hours, didn't mean we got back at midnight.
Yeah.
We got back sometimes at 1 o'clock, an hour later, but we were gone 12 hours.
Yeah.
So there was the equivalent of about 3 in the afternoon of every day. There was an officer that came through. He had a smart glass pad, and he was our progress officer. He asked, is anything broken? Do you need anything fixed? And where are you at? And he would take note of what you did that day and what your progress was. And you got scored because it was a carrot and stick. All the slaves, all the workers, everything. There was a very real possibility of getting rewarded. They
Mm.
always wanted you to know that if you were a slave, that you could eventually, if you were a stellar at what you did, earn your freedom or earn
Yeah.
some sort of liberty, earn a trip to the bridge.
Yeah.
And they did. They did reward you for that. But what
Yeah.
happened was the guys that didn't, there were most of the guys just didn't give a shit because they wanted to sit down. I'm going to sit down. And so they got
Mm.
low scores. They never won. They said, we're never going to win that anyway, anything. So they would just lay around. You know what I mean? Like, and I had a girlfriend that I was trying to earn more money to go see her.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? I was finally, after 18 years of being a slave and being treated bad and abused, I fell in love with a girl, and I was trying to do my best. I wanted to win that progress every week. I wanted to win the progress report so that I got a promotion, so that I'd make more money and get more time to go see my girl because I was saving up money to go be with her. And
Yeah. That
that's
was
why
awesome.
I worked as hard as I did. I did. And so I
Yeah.
did. It worked. I got promoted. The
Yeah.
trick was the other guy on the other side of the ship. There were 5 cargo bays, and I was in charge of 2 of them on one side, and he was in charge of 2 on the other. Not in charge, but I was like a supervisor. Like I was the guy that did the tally for those 2 cargo bays, and there was one big one in the middle that went out the rear. So our 2 bays opened up out the side of the ship, and there was one giant one, and then they all opened up into one big room. They had collapsible walls that would fold and be one giant cargo bay, but they could be um, cut up. We could make a room easily in the cargo bay that was pressurized or not pressurized out of the walls, and they would come out of the ceiling. They would fold and just go right into the ceiling. Anyhow, my counterpart refused. We went back and forth, and he would win, and I would win, and he would win, and I would win. I really tried. He wanted to win too, the progress, but where I got him was to uh, he refused to scarf his lunch down. He said,
Okay.
that's the one thing, that's where I draw the line. I'm going to enjoy my lunch. I'm not going to do that. So I wolfed my food. And as a result, I got back to work like 10 minutes earlier than him most of the time. Like I got an extra 5 or 10 minutes a day, and I won, and I got promoted, above him because of that. Because he's absolutely would refused to eat his food quickly, and you had to eat, or they'd send you to the doctor. You couldn't skip lunch because I tried doing that. And what happened was they would send you to the doctor, and the doctor would make you get on the treadmill and blow into the machine, and he'd give you shots and needles, even though you didn't need to. He did it on purpose so people wouldn't just cop a plea and go to the doctor calling sick all the time. They made going to the doctor very unpleasant. So you had to genuinely have something wrong with you to go to the doctor.
So
So
what?
you
Oh,
had to
sorry.
eat.
So one
Yeah,
thing I'd be
you had
interested
to eat.
in, yeah. See all the like this is when you were in series, right? And when you were basically
Yeah.
working for the Nazis then.
Mm-hmm.
Did they
On a
wear all
ship.
the did they wear all the insignia? Did they have all the swastikas and everything? Like, did you see that regularly about the place, or did they have different style? Did they have the
Yeah,
different style uniform? They did.
different style uniform. They were different style uniforms, but they had the same stuff, the insignia. They always had the eagle, and then the symbol underneath the eagle changed. Sometimes it was a swastika, sometimes it was something else. But they always had the eagle and everything, the eagle. And we did the Heil, but you know what happened was on the casual, you know, you did the salute, the Heil like they do.
Yeah.
Was the official salute. But what happens is casually below the decks, everybody just hits their heart. When we come up with each other, you just hit your heart. Hey, how's it going? And then we'd go on. You know what I mean? We didn't finish the salute down below between us when we had to salute people. It was only when you saw somebody that was really ranked that you had to give the full salute.
Okay, and weapons as well.
So I'm gonna post a link to this, and it's a 5-part series, and he has stories to tell that are just like gonna blow your mind. And I just it's like I couldn't get enough of his interviews once I started, you know, listening to him. So sometimes I wonder why I'm so I guess attracted to this type of stuff, you know, the breakaway civilizations and UFOs, and well, a lot of it has to do with you know, I found out really early on in my life that this isn't my home planet. You know, I'm spending lifetimes on the Earth, but I've spent more lifetimes on other planets than I have here. And, you know, I have memories of different things. So, but, you know, it's the type of thing you can't prove to anybody. It's just, you know, your own personal stuff. But I thought some of you might enjoy getting to know Tony, and there's a lot of other people out there like him too that are starting to come forward. So that's just something to think about.